No, no, I'm sorry.
When do assessment go out?
They'll mail out by the end of October.
End of October. It's gonna be day 11. That means you got to do this. I just told the guys ever.
Do I need my mic? Okay. I guess I'm not that helpful then. So.
What do you want me to do?
Okay, fine. If it doubles.
Whatever.
Get another day.
We'll call this meeting to order, and we're starting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors is scheduled for Friday, November 12th, 2021 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive. Please silence or turn off your cell phone. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Is the ringer sound?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Is there any comment by the supervisor? Any public comment? Okay.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Hotelling,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yeah.
Supervisor Gilpin.
Yes. Okay, is there any public comment? Moving right along. Is Scott here? No. Moving right along. Action agenda. Resolution number 2021-10/22-40, a resolution of the Swimming Lake of Sebring Improvement District to approve the RFP for AMI meter systems. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We'll come back to any board comment? Who's up, you?
That's the meter system bid that we put out at the beginning of the month. It's a little different because typically that's go to the board for approval. So it's typically a it's different from standard procedure in the past because a lot of times, as I understand, this RFPs would come to the board. This was a budgeted project and trying to move the schedule forward. The bid went on the streets at the beginning of the month, and we had a pre-bid meeting held here on October 18th. We had 11 vendors indicate they wanted to bid on the project. We had a good turnout here. We had a golf cart parade. Took all the vendors out to show them all the nuances of the system, locations of antennas. Good meter installations, bad meter installations, what they're gonna be facing out there to the maintenance yard to show them where they can store equipment. And really got into the weeds and discussion on the project, all the way that we talked about when you go into someone's yard, and a 2-foot workspace, you disturb their floor damp grass. That's about as important as replacing that box to the resident. They don't see the meter. So we're just asking for board's approval to issue that RFP, and we plan on bringing those bids back to the meeting on November 12th, we hope. And 29th was the original date. We had a propagation study we were working on the bid code that's part of the bid process. And when I say propagation study, it's a data set that shows the number of meters, the size of the meters, the location of the meters. They use that to assist in their bid, and we did not get that work product back yet, so we'll probably extend that bid 10 days to 2 weeks from the 20th day to allow those vendors the time to incorporate that in their bid, that information.
I'm sorry, which bid are you extending?
The one for the meters, it's due the 29th right now,
Yeah.
and for the meeting on the 18th, with some questions we had and some data that we needed to provide to them that we didn't have. Enco's working on it right now.
So if you're gonna extend the deadline, we probably won't see the bids till December.
Well, we're gonna try to have them at least preliminary, present to you in November 12th. We hope we get them back. If not, it'll be the first meeting in December. At that time, we'll get general for consideration for approval. And this is gonna be a big deal. It'll be in that $1.2, $1.5 million range we're estimating. Hopefully it'll be down close to that budget now at 1.2, but we did add to that scope of work. Replace
What are you going to present to us in November? I'm confused. If it's preliminary means you're just gonna tell us how many bids you got,
correct.
and
And
other than that, it's worthless, right? Because we have to wait till we actually get a recommendation.
right, and that'll be the December meeting. That will be the actual bids that are submitted to the district and the recommendation from the firm on the best most complete bid and also staff recommendation.
So this is good for us to approve something that you've already done.
Right. And that's why I mentioned it's a little different, but the project was budgeted, and I did mention at the meeting before that we were gonna put it out and also have a pre-bid meeting. So it is budgeted, it's a line item that was approved by the board, and it needs board approval once the bids come in.
Any other comment from the board?
I think this was a unique situation where I would prefer to see the RFP come to the board for approval before it went out. This is a unique situation. We've been talking about this project for months. We knew it was coming out. I'm okay with approving it ex post facto, if you will, but just for the future, I'd rather see them before they go out rather than after the fact.
That will be business as usual to come forward first for hits the streets. And that project is listed on our website on the Command Star site, distributed to contractors, and we are glad that there were 11 people that are participating in this.
I can't say what I was saying.
Okay.
Okay, any public comment?
Planning Bill Northwest residents. This, pardon me, this AMI is a water metering system, a reporting electronic. I'm not familiar with it at all. I know there's been problems with the system we had. Why are we changing? It'll work. Do you get a rebate from the other people? Or the system we have now that's not functioning properly?
Right.
We're
in mediation with the prior company.
Okay. As John P. Public out here, we don't know about that.
Yes, you did.
We've talked about it as board meeting.
Well, I'm talking about the board meeting, but I mean, the nuances in the information of what happened to the original system, why we're getting another system, because it's a failure basically of the other system, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
It's also 7 years old. It's not like it's a new system. Just so you know, I mean, I don't know what the life is supposed to be, 7 to 10 years is what they said.
This is Joey Sweeten. Joey can ask some of the questions. He's in charge of the water. So you guys can do it.
Hold the mic up close so everybody can hear you, they can hear you on the recording.
all right, and just a general information, I hope the new system works a lot better and a lot longer. Thank you.
So and we're using an outside consultant to help us spec this project.
The average AMR system should last between 15 and 20 years.
The new system,
Any system proposed in the, moving forward, it will be in that period of time, 15 to 20 years battery life, registered. Anything that's failing now, we're trying to eliminate that. And everything moving forward should be the 15 to 20 year range. And that's why we're trying to also get away from our go to a static meter, which is no internal moving parts, longer battery lines. That's
so you're saying the new system will go 15 to 20 years?
yes, sir.
Well, I mean, have we asked what kind of warranties with the, we're probably too early having this conversation.
It'll be spelled out in the bid process. We did, that each manufacturer provided complete information on their
Yeah,
warranty.
we don't know which one we're going with, so we don't know what the deal is yet, right?
That'll be a bid evaluation.
So the average, the average warranty on this,
It's based on the company that will choose. I'm not choose. They have what they want. So each company is different. Most of the time on the solid state meter, non-internal parts of long battery life, and that's what we're trying to acquire here. So something like that.
So we have a recommendation. I do have a question on water meters. Have we caught up? Or where are we as far as reading everybody's meters?
The first month we had both of the meter readers staff, we accomplished half. Next month they will do the other half to get the estimates.
So at the next month, will we caught up reading everybody's meters at least once,
Yes, sir.
right? And what, have we gotten negative response? And if so, to what extent?
Well, if you, when the bills came out, if you came into the office, you probably saw 4 or 5 people at a time up at the counter asking about it because they were billed correctly versus the estimate they got. And in most cases, the people were very understanding about that. If the amount was high, we offered them a payment plan, and in some cases, we just brought it back to their uses. There were some cases where when they estimated the bills, and people were out of town, they overpaid. So we gave them credit based on the reading, and it's been the customer service nightmare. It rolls down all the way from people at the front desk, customers starting to complain, all the way to billing adjustments. So it touches every staff side and utilities when that happens.
We had a payment plan.
Well, if somebody had there, and well, there was one group that they owed a lot more than their typical bill, And they had been paying because it was estimated, well, it was a homeowners association and their irrigation, so in some cases they looked at it, and we said we would offer them a payment plan.
So this gentleman that was here last meeting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no.
And in some cases, that they got a credit, and in some cases, we basically looked at the history of it and got the average and had to write a couple of them off.
Okay, so we're gonna catch up next month. And what are we gonna do going forward after that? Are we gonna read 50% every month? Is that the goal? Or, because we're not gonna have these new meters until sometime next year.
Correct. Oh, yeah, that's what we'll continue to do is maintain an agreement, because what we're trying to do is get accurate bill reads, so when this new system comes out.
So there'll be 50% guess or estimate, I should say, and 50% actual. Are we gonna tell anybody we're doing this way, or it's gonna work this way, or should we tell people?
There was a notice in the bill about it.
I'm sorry,
There was a notice in the bill.
there's a notice in the bill?
Yes, sir. And that was the explanation was provided that the bills have been estimated for last year, and that's where.
No, I understand that, but going forward, we're gonna tell, because this is gonna happen again, right? It's gonna be estimated,
Oh, yeah, but
50%.
And but we hope now that the bills are gonna be a lot closer, so you won't have that big disruption.
Okay.
Major users like the hospital. Are we gonna read that one every month?
Yes, sir, we have it. Yes, sir, we have it. Oh, we are currently reading all commercial accounts. Commercial.
Okay, but we missed it. On one, the hospital got a big bill, right? Or would have gotten a big bill. Because some batteries did.
Yes, so the battery was placed about 3 weeks ago. They tried to estimate this month based on that. Their hospital has 2 meters. The one surpasses the other because of pressure, so it only reads that side. That was unfortunately the battery was there.
Okay, but all corporate accounts are being read.
Yes, sir.
And specifically, their bill was about estimated about 30% low, so $16,000, and then they got the actual read, it was $20,000.
Just run through again. So December meeting, we're gonna make a final decision. They'll have some recommendations in November. December is when we'll vote on somebody.
Right.
And then we will start when approximately, and how long will it take?
And we hope to move forward with the contracting, once we get board approval in December, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get the insurance and contracting, we're hoping to kick off January 2. And meter installation should start in the middle of the month, and the only thing that might hold up is if there's supply chain issues. The contractor at the meeting said they weren't having any issues at this moment with getting the product.
So we're gonna probably start January,
Yes, sir.
and how long do you think it'll take? I'm sorry,
I hope to be done by June 1,
June
when
1?
the rainy season getting started. And we're doing some ancillary things too, because there's some areas where we have water meters adjacent to electric transformers. We have one that's sunk about 2 feet in the ground, and right now we're contacting new power that talked to them about coming in and raising those transformers up and addressing those issues. And when we reset the new meter, set it a couple feet away from the transformer, not right next to it.
One last question. Putting in any of these meters, is there any disruption to any of the people's anything? Is there an inconvenience to the people?
No, sir. They'll pull the meter, put it back in, just as we would do. It's probably a 30-minute job. You have to turn the water off, the service off to the home, to then replace the meter.
So we are gonna have to turn people's water off to do this?
Yes, at the actual curb stop, so it's not like.
I'm sorry.
At the curb stop at the home, not at the main line.
So you're turning off one house at a time,
Yes.
and will we be able to notify them in advance that this week we're gonna be doing meters on your street or something like that?
Also, door hangers and signs at the front of the street that we're working on in meter projects in progression. And we'll also be asking them when meter and after it's installed, when the water goes back on, to flush their lines for proper. Occasionally we'll go with sand in the line. Doesn't happen all the time, but just fail safe. But you will, yeah, you'll have to shut the water off for 30 minutes.
I'm just not home, is that a problem?
Well, we can, it shouldn't be a problem. We can shut it off and then hopefully we can go up and we'll just turn our hose tip on, but we'll have a full. It's gonna be a big public relations rollout, in December, January to inform the customers. And we'll plan on using door tags also. Tomorrow your meter will be changed out and we'll have a schedule. So that people know what streets and approximately what time, and that's part of that propagation study where the meters are, how many we can do, where we are at that certain time. Changing the meter out, is not the easy part of the public relations and working with the customers and shutting the water off becomes a.
I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're disrupting their service and how long and when it's gonna happen. If we don't do that, we're gonna get a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Say it's gonna be a big public relations.
Got newspaper articles.
Yeah. All right,
Somehow we got turned around here, but I think we're still on public comment. Is there any more public comment? Okay, any more comment from the supervisors? Okay, the only thing I got to say is it's frustrating that it's taking so long, but I wanted to thank Dan Stiegel and you, Chris, for this stuff here had been done a long time ago. And it's frustrating, but at least we know we're on the right track now. And I think the customers will be a lot happier now, whatever they gotta go through. Because of us not doing what we should have done a long time ago. So thank you for that. Okay.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Hoteling,
yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin.
Yes. I'm gonna go back to the commissioner's thing because he came in right after the call meeting, so. You have the floor, Scott.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry about being a couple minutes late. You guys said we were pretty quick this morning. I got a lot done. This is already on number 7. And just to report to you, this week, the Highlands County Commission, we adopted an ordinance for to strengthen our pet tethering regulations that I know one of your citizens, your residents, a few months ago came to me with an issue they had about a dog that's tied up pretty much around the clock behind their home. And fortunately, that all got worked out through the Humane Society. Actually found a home for that dog and adopted it out. But through that and some other interaction in the county, we adopted an ordinance to tighten that up for folks in the county. So long story short, basically you cannot keep an animal tethered to a stationary object for more than 4 hours at a time, and no more than 8 hours in a period of a 24-hour day. It gives our law enforcement and animal control a bit more authority to work with. The animal is still required to have shade and water. We've had some pretty bad situations here in the county with people basically leaving dogs tied to trees or what have you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some collars growing into their neck and having to be surgically removed. So glad that we were able to do that. I met with Chris this week and we started the conversation, and he knows what staff to get with, and he's going to schedule time to get with staff on what we talked about last time on the pavement of Schumacher Road and also the Cortez Road extension. So Chris knows how to proceed with that, and then I'm sure that we'll be reporting back to you that when he has those meetings, what the findings are there. That's about it. We did also enter into an agreement with the Fire Rescue Union this week, just to share with everybody to let you know there's been a Fire Rescue Union formed on their side, on the employee side, for almost 3 years now. And we've had a county appointed negotiating team, collective bargaining team that was negotiated with the union for about 3 years. And they were finally able to come to an agreement. What I learned as your new commissioner about a year now is that the county did not have an option. We had to enter into a contract with the union. Law requires us to enter a contract with them. I feel that our team did a great job negotiating for the county, very little fiscal impact for the next 3 years. Not a lot different on how regular county employees get, how they're treated or how their pay is structured. So we were happy with that, but we chose not to accept as a commission. We chose not to accept the recommendation from our negotiating team. Then it would have went to something that's called impasse, which would have went to Tallahassee to a special magistrate. Very lengthy and costly process. And at the end of the day, the magistrate will decide what the contract will be. So little did I know that we had to enter into a contract. That's make our county team did a good job of that. And certainly we want to remain competitive in our area to try to keep our first responders here with us. Other than that, things continue on. I know that Waste Connections is, we emailed them last week. They are working on the green can, recycled can pickup program. I'm told that we'll have something here very shortly on that to report back to you. So if somebody desires to take it to them, in the meantime, they will receive them there. But they will actually, they're going to come up with a system that if you don't need your green can taken up to station in the garage, that you can call and they'll put you on the list and send a truck by and pick it up. That's about all I have for you folks today. Any questions for me or anything else coming wise?
Any update on the recycling program and that's going in place?
I know that they're getting closer. I know that they are working on finalizing the agreement for the city of Sebring towards downtown. I hear that we're getting closer on the location at the armory there. And I'm told hopefully by the end of November that those places hopefully are going to be in place and being able to accept recycled goods. So they are continuing to work on that. Yep. Okay. Thank y'all so much. If you need me, certainly Chris knows how to get in touch with me, and please feel free to reach out, and we'll try to keep things moving forward the best we can. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Okay, next is resolution number 2021-10/22-41. A resolution of the Sun Lake Sebring Improvement District to approve agreement with Florida Rural Water Association regarding state revolving fund application process. I have a motion.
Facilities plan for rural water to do is required by the Florida Department of Commerce. Plan is complete, but also required to present to the board in a public hearing form. They will put from the public on it and a resolution of the board to approve it. It gets sent up to DEP with the request for inclusion to add the projects considered funded. And I mentioned on there too, that one of the things we're going to do is send to them the 3 reports that we've done historically to address the water wastewater systems here. There were 3, 2011 to 2017 done. There's an extensive amount of mapping. One, probably the key point here is they will look at all this and have to provide 3 alternatives. So they're going to look at what they think the needs are in the system and come back and say, okay, here's the need, here's 3 alternatives. And one of those alternatives would be to do nothing. Of course, a lot of times that is an alternative, and the system is old as ours. But that will be as part of that report. And takes typically 3 to 4 months to finish something. They just start telling you that they had a brief conversation was contract language, and they said they can use a consultant. Part of that was to clarify is they have 2 or 3 people on their staff that are for rural water employees that work strictly with rural water. It's like looking at our rate studies, the current consultant. So they may use an engineer that is paid for rural water to do that outside of language.
So, okay, so we would pay that engineer close to the water?
They're working under contract with rural water. And, it's similar to the FDP, go down and talk to some of their employees, they're term consultants, not environmental specialists, because they're working under contract, they have to be full employees with salary. Okay. I mean, it's a $25,000 price tag, it's not budgeted. Intending on taking these funds, so they reserve account.
So we're just doing a full 25,000 saving in this.
Yes, sir. The utility reserve account comes from the capital building from the enterprise fund, so it is utility dollars.
Yeah, and it's something that we need to do to be able to move forward, what we need to do.
And once we put that request for inclusion in, they'll make that recommendation and approve what they will, and that will come back to the board with a formal contract to approve. So we'll see this approved in the facilities plan. You'll see it again because you'll have to approve the applications for funding for that DEP, and then you'll see it again because the agreement will come back for approval.
You're gonna send this out, or you're gonna send me, they probably want that whole timing and action calendar on how this whole thing works.
Yes, sir. We have the timeline. I'll bring that back November 12th, and also a project management schedule of projected dates.
So the FRWA, whatever it is, that first thing that we signed off on in March, which we thought was gonna tell us this information, really is only gonna tell us what the rate should be,
Correct.
what we can charge for rates.
Correct.
Even though we thought it was something else.
No, that was a different study. That was.
Are we also under the impression that they would recommend that we need a plan or not?
That wasn't my
This
understanding.
is right, exactly right.
And I can get you a copy of that scope of work, but it's.
So anyway, but we're only gonna get the recommendation of what we can charge.
Correct.
And then we're gonna spend $25,000 to find out if we need a plan. It's gonna take 4 months.
Correct. And use that rate study, if they come in and say, here's a list, here's what it's gonna cost, and you can plug that into the rate model and see. And what the rates would be to make those improvements, to pay the principal and interest on the rest
The
of the
rates determine the amount that we can increase, determines the amount we can.
So, yeah, the amount you're willing
Huh?
to raise the rate will determine the amount you can borrow, because this also requires a financial sustainability plan, and they'll look at the financial statement for the utility. So you have to be charging a rate to go forward the principal and interest for that. Because right now.
Maybe you want to explain that there, I mean, explain it to me, so I don't know if the other.
Stuff like I'll put it on the agenda for the 12th, and we'll get into it in detail. We'll get 20-25 minutes on that with flow charts and information. You should have that rate study done at the end of this month. I talked to Rural Water, and they said they put that complete for us. And that's not unusual, typical rate study, 4 to 6 months. And one thing I wanted to take a look at too is the rates, one thing, the connection fees another. And the connection fee is what we charge to tap into our system. Right. And we're kind of looking at that because the bonus and growth connection fee hasn't been changed in years, and it may be time to bump that up some too. And that money is directly used to pay for capital improvements for the utility.
I thought we just updated the cap on fees last year.
I was aware that it changed, but I'll find that.
Yeah,
Go ahead, John.
I'm just about positive to get on the commercial side. I think
We did update the connection fees, especially for commercial, because we didn't really have a set rate on anything bigger than a residential line. I know, the previous accountant went through it and we made recommendations based off the other municipalities. And they, instead of having like a separate impact fee and a separate connection fee, they combined a lot of them. I think that was what, 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we did that.
and it's even in the last two, because that.
Okay.
I think it was last year.
Okay, it hasn't been that long ago that we did that, but we didn't even have connection fees for like a 6-inch line, so they were, as far as I know, in the past, we charged the same low rate for a huge, like if the hospital would connect, we wouldn't even impact them hardly anything, so we can still look at that. I think we're still overall the lowest in the county compared to other municipalities, so there is a lot left on the table just by comparison, even a year ago or 2 years ago, when we were looking at it. So that's definitely something that can help for impact.
Some people get, it's a touchy subject, you know, the builder pays it to tap the line and then he passes that on to the homeowner. And some people simply raise the fee, and so they'll traditionally they go up there, really just makes your house more valuable because that fee is included in the value of your house. And even builds a house has to pay it, so. Yeah.
Okay.
That's just another way to look at it, but we are going to be looking at it because they are in comparison, like our water and sewer rates low. This year.
I just think we would have a conversation because there is a relationship between, unless I'm wrong and how I understood it, there's a relationship between how much we take things up versus how much we borrow.
Correct.
So I mean, it becomes
Yeah, if
a
you're-
conversation we should all have.
And if you're gonna borrow dollars for the P&I for that project, and it's the loan payment's $250,000 a year, that $250,000 has to be included as a rate because it's what it is now. And the SRF program is gonna want to make sure you have the funding to be able to repay that loan.
Be a good conversation for next week.
Okay, we'll address all those issues on the project.
Okay,
It's already been brought up, but the meter system is not part, we can't make it part of this, or get funding for it.
Concerned at the moment, that would have required a facilities plan, and going through that whole 9 to 12 month process to be,
What I thought.
and it would have got started. And a lot of times they aren't real big on these replacement programs. They think that's just should be part of the operation and maintenance because it's more of a replacement thing versus new capital expenditures.
Okay, thank you.
okay, is there any board comment? Okay, any public comment?
Morning, again, Bill Norcross, resident. I understand that, you know, you have to have rates, part of the equation to get a loan. You have to have affordable rates, and you have to be able to pay the loan back. That's the general idea. But what I don't like personally is that, well, we have the lowest rate. We have the lowest tax rate. We have the lowest thing. Now, don't you think that's a good selling point for the community? I don't want the highest rates, highest tax rate, or anything else. You know, there was a fellow here years ago that said, he said, you know, we're gonna get new water meters 6, 7 years ago. What a great selling point that's gonna be. Wait, we can drive down Sunlight Boulevard with a real estate person, and all of a sudden, you know, well, we have the lowest water rates and we have new water meters. What a great selling point. I don't think so. So what I'm trying to understand is that I like to try to keep the water rates low. I like to keep the taxes low and be the best in the county. That way. You understand that?
Concerned, but I may respond to that. I kind of look at the situation like if you're living in an HOA and they don't have a reserve study to put a new roof on the building, $100,000 a year into a reserve study for 15 years for a new roof. All of a sudden, your board comes and says, we need a new roof, and everyone's gonna get assessed $20,000. And we're gonna do this next year. And it's unfortunate that the state of the infrastructure in this community is they haven't done any improvements. They haven't done the proper maintenance or repair and replacement. And a lot of the facilities here are at the end of their useful life. And they've been kicking the can down the road. And if something isn't done pretty soon, to start addressing these issues, and you start having broken water lines, broken sewer lines, overflows, that'd be out of this property.
I understand, because I think Southern Lake is, Southern Lake here is, no, wait, they want to put it this way, they do kick the can down the road a lot. And now you're going to address this problem, which is a good idea, we appreciate it, thank you.
Yes, sir, and we're gonna try to still keep those rates, we're gonna try to be the highest or go there, we're gonna try to push it up a little bit, but still stay in the lower half.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, Kelly?
Supervisor Hottelling,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilman.
Yes. Resolution number 2021-10/22-40. A resolution of the Sun Lake Receiving Improvement District to approve roadway improvement districts for the 2021 and 2022 fiscal year. Can I have a motion? You had that, Kelly?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, is Drew?
Morning again. You're probably fairly familiar that we, I guess, recently officially approved the previous fiscal year's road paving projects. And I guess it was decided on that we were going to try to, since we were so late in doing that, we were going to try to get the current fiscal year's projects done at the same time while the contractor was out here. So this paving project is the current fiscal year, and we're starting fairly quickly. Things are a little out of order from what you're used to if you've been on the board for a few years. We normally present what roads we're paving early on for your information. But since we had a 6-year plan in place, we attempted to follow that as closely as we could, but we flipped a couple of roads out of it. We were going to do some paving in the preserved HOA area that we took out, but we put in Granada Boulevard or a portion of it. But the rest of it follows the 6-year plan proposed last year, mostly in Unit 5. We're going to cover just about every road in Unit 5 that hasn't been paved yet. We're going to actually, it should be every road except the first 4 of the ABC streets. Because those have been pretty rough condition, and they also have microsurface paving, so that was actually high on the list on the 6-year paving plan. We got proposals from Excavation Point, which we are still in continuing contract with. They've been doing it the past few years. And I believe the total came in just under the budget of $350,000 for this proposed work. And it includes all new striping on all the stop bars, replacing the yellow striping on Granada, everything in thermoplastic. So it's the final product that should last, give or take 5 years or so at least, before it needs any kind of repainting or anything. As opposed to regular striping in the last year or 2.
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't hear very well, you said, my fault. I was just wondering, the changes that you made from the original list that you had sent out,
Yes.
like you had originally Ortega, then Darnell, Vivian,
Yes,
those have been taken off.
correct. They pushed back because we looked at the ratings of the roads and they're
That's
not.
fine, I mean, well, I guess what I'm asking is, can you update this? This, to me, was very helpful, the plan that you have given us. on the road pavers by year? Based on what you know today, obviously things will change, I understand that. But this is helpful because some people, believe it or not, ask.
Correct, yes, we can do that.
So if you can update this and get us a copy, that would be great.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Yes, I've seen it.
Is that it, Drew?
Unless you have.
Yeah, any, well, I'm gonna ask, is there any board comment? Yeah. Okay, any public comment?
Bill Norcross, resident, I just a question of the funding of the road work. Did we establish years ago, a couple years ago, under Tanya with $350,000 a year?
Yeah.
For road work, is that still rated on the state fund?
$349,729.
Okay,
So you owe us you owe him $300
okay.
worth of road work.
I just wondered if that was active for that fund, because I haven't seen too much road work done.
Negotiate with him and get that last $300.
All right, yeah, get it up.
Mr. Chair, if I may add too, I spoke with people over there at excavation point, I said, when are you gonna get started on this? And they said January. So that was their answer. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just said that.
Okay, Kelly, I think that's it.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Hoteling,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilman.
Yes. Resolution number 2021-10/22-43. A resolution of the Sun Lake of Seawood Improvement District to approve the 2022 board meeting schedule. I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Who's gonna address that?
I will, it's, see the schedule in front of you, and it's very similar to years past. There is only one meeting in November and only one meeting in December.
I have a challenge on
Yeah.
I have a challenge on the December meeting. We discussed this earlier. It's scheduled for December the 2nd. And then the next meeting will be somewhere around the second week of January. I'm guessing based on historical data. I think that's just too long to go without a meeting.
I agree.
I'd like to have that meeting in December, move either the 9th or the 16th.
Not
You're on the same number.
No,
Not the 16th. I could go 33 people, not the 16th, but still the 9th. We have to do the 9th.
I just think the 2nd is too early.
I agree.
I'm out.
I think the 9th makes more sense. I also would suggest in September, we're scheduled for September 2nd, which is Labor Day weekend. I would think that if we move the September ones to the 9th and the 23rd, that would give us the 3-week gap between the 19th and the 9th, August 19th and September 9th, as opposed to between September 16th and October 7th. We're gonna have a 3-week gap one way or the other. And it would seem to move that Friday from Labor Day weekend a week would make more sense.
But we got the same scenario in July. July 1st is the Friday before the 4th, which is on Monday, so 7, 8 makes more sense to me, and then 7/22. Probably gonna be some of us listening in that time frame.
So you want to move September,
July 1st, I think should be July 8th. July 15th, become July 22nd. Neil's requested 99. 9/16, voted on 3, correct?
Correct.
All right, before I would read to that, Mike, you have the calendar with you for the events?
Yes.
I mean, I checked it first one. I just want to make sure there's no conflicts there. If there's no conflicts, I don't, we'll change the date. I'm not-
Well, I think we need to go over slowly what we just changed.
I was gonna read it.
If it's okay, I was gonna read the dates that will be on the new list with the changes that you guys have recommended at the moment. So for 2022, for board meetings, all starting at 9 a.m. here at the community center. I have January 7th, January 21st, February 4th, February 18th, March 4th, March 18th, April 1st, April 22nd, May 6th, May 20th, June 3rd, June 17th, July 8th, July 22nd, August 5th, August 19th, September 9th, September 23rd, October 7th, October 28th, November 18th, and December 9th.
I just need to hear from him if there's a conflict.
And if you need more time to review that with the schedule, we could hold this off until next month.
We could, I think that's what we need to do.
Just make sure we haven't got any conflicts with this event.
You see it? You need a copy of it, Mike, so you know what you're looking at? That would be great.
So somebody want to make a motion to just table it till the next meeting?
So I move to the table to the next meeting.
I'll say that.
All right, we got a motion in the section table. We'll be
Any public comment on the changes? Okay, so what we're gonna do is table this to the next meeting and we're gonna have a vote on it right now.
So we need to get rid of those table, right?
Yeah, we're gonna vote to table.
Supervisor Brooks, you're voting to table this decision.
Yes.
Supervisor Hoteling,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Harrod,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilman.
Yes. We have any add-on items?
No,
Petitions and communications. I got one here from Russ and Debbie Buckingham. And they wanted to thank the board for fixing Terega. Just to make it short, instead of reading the whole thing, and they wanted to, I know it's a 5-0 vote, but they wanted to thank Ray Brooks and Mike Early for pushing us over the edge. So, and so I appreciate it getting done, but because it's been a long time, but we finally got a financing thing and it could be done that they agreed with. It had, it was just a total mess, so I'm glad it got over with. Okay, staff reports.
I think we have to go back.
okay.
We have to recant the letter.
I don't have one.
Communications, petitions and communications. There was a letter from Mr. Camp.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
There was a letter from Mr. Camp concerning.
Yeah, he asked for that to be read into
Yeah,
the
we-
record, I believe, did he not?
He asked that it be distributed to the board members and included on the agenda under communications.
Which means that you would read it, I believe.
And it's that letter is attached to the meeting minutes and was distributed to all the board members. If you like to discuss it. So that letter that he sent is attached to the meeting minutes for the record. And also was distributed to all the board members. And Dan and I sent a response to his communication. And the revised schedule of charges will be on your agenda for November well, and where some of the concern was the dividing the charge by the 12 months came up to about an 832 figure. We had 850, but we had added on an administrative task charge for doing billing on a monthly basis.
I'm sorry, I am confused. His memo is gonna be attached, first of all, the board didn't get it, right? You guys got it? You got it? By the way, got it? Okay. And the reason it's not being read is he's gonna ask me this, I have to ask him
Yeah,
that.
that's fine. Well, then he asked for it to be added to the agenda. The agenda pack already went out, and I told him that. I said, we'll be glad to attach it for the record of the meeting, and that's then you asked us to distribute.
That's never stopped us before.
So you.
I mean, just so you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you want to read, just say you want to read.
You want 2 pages?
I know he wants it, right?
Okay, well, do you want to read?
Huh?
Do you want to read?
I think it's the right thing to do if somebody asks, if somebody sends us a letter and asks for it to be read at the meeting, I think we ought to do it.
I have no objection to reading it, so why don't I read it? Same here.
If you guys don't want to do it, that's fine.
I just didn't see reading a 2-page letter into the, it's distributed to the board, it'll be on the agenda the 12th. If you want us to sit here and read a 2-page letter to the record, it's on the record of the meeting minutes. And we responded to him in email, I responded to him myself.
David, are we doing this correct?
There's, I mean, it's part of the record. There, I don't know what difference reading it aloud makes. I mean, other than cluttering the minutes, you know, the letter itself will be part of the recorded minutes, and it'll be discussed at the next board meeting. So,
Is that something I should ask the board if they want it read?
I mean, any board member wants to can start reading it. I mean, it's you're the president, you control the meeting, so.
Well, what's the board?
I guess the last question I asked before you call that question is, have you had any response to your response, Mr. Kane?
No.
And I'm not aware of any legal requirement that would force us to read it in the record.
And for reference, anybody that submits pictures or any concerns or things like that, that's attached to the meeting minutes as part of the record of the meeting.
What's the board want?
Let's move on.
Okay with everybody? Is that right? Okay. Staff reports.
You cancel or?
I'll be quick.
Use the mic.
Can you hear me? Watch orders 583, code enforcement notices 219, last month. And of course, for everything, parking on grass, garbage cans, the watch orders we have, and the watch orders, obviously, ran any breaks or anything to it. That's been good. We also are working over at the, we finished up the bathroom, and we are at the clubhouse. Mike and I are working with the staff. And that's going very well. Hopefully we'll get it done today.
You did a good job on your bathroom.
And just a shout out to the team, they did a great job.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Well, you know, there's a lot of pride when they do things and show, and it saves a lot of money. So, and that's, besides that, I don't have a lot else going on. We did do some cutting in back of the clubhouse, when I can't help, because there's some ruts. Well, if you run a big machine, when the ground's soft, you're gonna get ruts. So, but we will go back and fix it for those people who have their concern about that.
I thought we bought,
I agree with
didn't we buy something so this wouldn't happen, right?
I thought we had some kind of remote device. We do, but it got so high you can't cut it. So you gotta go in with the sidearm first, cut it down, because of the weather, we couldn't get in here with the remote control because it was wet, it was too wet.
But we did buy a piece of equipment.
And we use it in Swale, we use it, Joe uses it, we use them in Kansas all the time. But we have, I will suggest we've had a lot of mechanical problems with it, it's gone back and forth a couple of times. We just got it back again, they rebuilt it, and I let the company know if this happens again, they can buy the thing back because it spends as much time in the shop than it does in our shop. So I'll report you back next month and see where we are with that.
Mike, I had a question on the security report. Are we doing that? Is there such a thing as,
The security report sent you a month ago.
okay, it's on the internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
I think it'd behoove us to go around, code enforcement to all the lots that have been cleared that are not being maintained.
Those are part of the notices that he sends out. And I know
We being proactive on that, or we?
Yeah.
Reactive. Let's be proactive.
Yeah, okay.
Do we have, we haven't gotten an update on the, that speed machine? Like, that's not what you call it.
On the traffic?
We are moving it out to Cortez, and I think it's out there right now, it could be out there right now, I've been over at the clubhouse, so I'd say I'm doing a lot of right rounds. But, I will give you an update of where it's been the last month, okay?
Yeah,
But okay, we were putting it back in that one place where the gentleman has been here a couple of times.
Right. And we did it,
Do you have a-
yes, and we do have the report, I'll get it to you, it's the same report I gave to you 4 months ago, 5 months ago, that, the traffic. We got 1 or 2, he's telling me that he wants 60 miles an hour, well, I don't know how anyone can go around that corner on 60 miles an hour, but we haven't found any of that. So.
Any other comment? Okay. Any public comment? Okay, next.
Good morning, Supervisors. Met with Wesco yesterday, with our core representative. I know it's short notice. Thank you. So basically what they need, hopefully by next week, is a letter of intent to move forward with their projects, okay? The big part right now that's taking so long, the design is all completed. I gave it to you also, you guys can read it. I met with them yesterday. They found out Tuesday at a national meeting that the pricing is gonna go up on certain products 15% November 1. And that's gonna be on all of their stuff. I don't know whether Mike provided that. So the price we have right now is the list of just the stuff that comes directly from Toro. Everything else will be an allied product. Those would be our fittings, our pipe, our wire. So right now, with the design being done, once we get the letter of intent, then how do you guys want to proceed? We are able to piggyback. So these 5 contractors are the first ones that have showed interest in bidding on this job, which it's a big job. I think we could probably get more, but these are the 5 strongest that we have in Florida right now. So Landiers, of course, they've done our work prior. But we just need to get the letter of commitment by the end of next Friday to lock in our floor prices.
What are we committing to specifically?
Okay, so all we're doing is committing to lock in our pricing.
Our pricing, we're committing to some kind of a project. We're talking about.
Just the pricing on the Toro product. So the budget.
We're committing to a project in order to lock in that price.
Correct.
The cost of the project and the scope of the project that we're committing to.
The scope of the project is going to be, that'll all be handled once we award it to somebody. We'll have a representative, and then we'll sit down and do all the due diligence as far as penalty and all that other stuff.
Okay.
All we're doing right now is locking in pricing on the Toro product.
But we're making some kind of a commitment to the project. Is this the big $1.2 million project for deer, or is this the greens for a turtle? What are we committing to?
You're committing to Toro product pricing right now for the deer project. Turtle is not even, I'll tell you right now, Turtle's probably not gonna even get in the bid process of $1.8 million.
Who decided that? Is that your decision?
No, I haven't decided anything. I'm just telling you right now what the pricing is. And looking at the pricing, we're gonna have a vote, but it's probably gonna be closer to $2 million. The pricing right now, just for the Toro product, is $274,000. So what we're trying to do right now,
We would be committing to spending $274,000.
there's no commitment, you can back out of it anytime. It's just the intentions that we do plan on going forward with this irrigation project next year. You can back out of any time that you want. All we're trying to do is lock in Toro pricing right now.
Okay, I'm just trying to commit to,
Are we committed to use Toro product?
we're committing to use Toro product on the project being the full irrigation of deer. Is that the project that we're committing to?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to get clarified.
Yes. So again, it's just trying to lock in the pricing for it. At November 1, it's gonna, so the 274,000 right now that they're quoting for the Toro product will go at 15% on November 1.
So what we're trying to do is be very proactive and get our prices locked in before they go. Like everything else is going up.
Right, there's not gonna be any purchase, no money exchange, and they got in the email that he sent us that it's just a commitment to move forward with the project.
So if it's a commitment, it's a commitment, they're gonna buy $275,000 equipment, that sounds.
Yes, sir.
What exactly, what are we buying again?
You're buying all the Toro products for the renovation. There's
There's
still
just one, Toro products, what am I buying?
You're buying that, you're buying.
Huh?
It's all.
I don't see your first, what are we buying?
You're buying
We're gonna get this together.
Is that answer?
No, you can have it. We're gonna send it all out. I got it at 4 o'clock. I actually got it last night with the list.
I don't know, you gave me anything that says 421, and then there's a discount. Package discount.
I was gonna ask you to go to the Mr. Kent's.
I'm assuming it's primarily heads and control.
That does say right in the first, second paragraph, some of those need to take the list of the products and we'll have the right to cancel the order. All we're doing is committing to the price.
And we'll work with you to write that out, that way. It'll satisfy us.
And we're able to piggyback on this because they've done work with some other group.
Yes, sir.
And you plan to send out the bid package, what?
Well, once we get the commitment letter and get the rest of the pricing, we're hoping to get it sent out. Instruct the contractors to start. So we're doing basically November 12th is when we'd like to.
And so you're gonna send it out just to these 5 companies?
Well, those are the only ones that showed interest. Right now, Ray, there's probably 100 projects going on in the country right now.
100 what?
100 projects. The golf course renovation is huge right now. So what Toro's been trying to do is they have a national umbrella. So they've been trying to get contractors to commit to want to come to Sebring, Florida and do this renovation. Because these are all name brand contractors. So naturally, if you might be able to get somebody to come in and do it at a lower price, a lesser price, but you're gonna get what you pay for. So these guys are the mobilization, these are Florida contractors that are interested, and that these are Wesco Turf's preferred contractors because they've done so much business with them. But right now, the biggest commitment is trying to get the May 2nd start date. Just because if you don't lock it in, then they have other jobs they're bidding on. If we don't lock it in soon, like on November 12th, then we might not get that date, that start date that we want. So it's taken a while to get the ball to design and everything. So what I asked him yesterday was to do deer and turtle separate. Because looking at the numbers already, it's gonna be right around $1.8 million just to do deer. So I would come to you and show you turtle. We can't look at 2-3 years ago when we first looked at this and did the study or did whatever we did, just the price and everything's gone up. So
You're thinking deer's gonna cost how much?
1,000,008.
Huh? 1.8 now? Well, that's a great budget to put together.
Again,
Okay. This is supposed to, the cream of the crop, as far as people that install,
yes, sir.
and you said, does this require an RFP?
Yes, that's what we would be sending out.
Aren't we obligated to go with the lowest bidder unless we can
No.
justify?
Yeah, unless you can justify a reason why you're not going with the lowest bidder. That's basically, that's what it comes down to. I mean, there's significant wiggle room there, but generally, yes, you're required, if you're gonna award it. If you're not going to award it to the low bidder, you have to have a good, get that compelling reason.
So
Is an RFP open to everybody, or can we restrict it to 5 people?
So you can't.
yes.
Can't restrict.
Now, what you can do is you can say, we're gonna have, you can do mandatory site visits, there's something, if you don't show up to the site visit, then you're not allowed to bid. So there are ways to restrict it, but the original bid has to be open.
So the original meeting that we had with Omar was, I know Omar's not here, but that was the whole reason why if we let Wesco handle it, then they would handle the contractors, set down for the processing that we want, and then when we get ready to do all the due diligence, then we'll sit down with the contractors and tell them what the specs are. The thing is, if you start getting taken to them right now, that they're gonna jack down the price. The harder you make the job, the higher the price is gonna be.
So we're not trying to make it harder, but the bottom line we're trying to get to is the RFP has to be open to everybody. The likelihood is these 5 are the only ones that bid on it, but we can't restrict it to just these 5. We need to have an open RFP, anybody can come in. And the question is, do we want to do like our attorney has suggested, have a pre-meeting like we did with the meters and say, come to this pre-meeting to show that you're interested in bidding on the project.
Yeah, so all I need to know is the process that you guys want to go through at this point. So,
What happens with Turtle?
well, Turtle, if we want to do it, it's gonna be
Well,
another number.
I assume we want to do it.
I love it.
I assume there was a reason why we put her in the budget.
We were trying to get them both in the budget, well, the expenses, before the expenses went up, obviously the expenses was already gone up.
That's not the point, doesn't need to be done.
Yes,
And
sir.
so,
Right now-
decide what we're gonna do.
Right now, as dry as we've been, you can drive around Turtle and see where that you don't have the outboards, the out facing heads. So the outer perimeters around the greens are hot right now because we haven't had water. And that's because of that reason. So if I try to water them, it's either gonna be by hand or you're gonna overwater the green because you gotta have the full 360 all you have when you have around the greens.
So we do need to address. Turtle.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But I figured yesterday, talking with them, that if we were at 1,000,008, then just separate and bring Turtle to you and tell you what exactly Turtle's gonna cost. And keeping in mind that there's always a mobilization fee, so if they're on property, it'll be easier. It'll probably only take them a week to do Turtle. It's not gonna be that big a
I
project.
may move to the next year, I just wanna know what we're gonna do with it. And I really like to know the real cost, because apparently it's very difficult for people to get the right cost.
And if the prices are going up, it's better to lock in the price and get it done. If it's something we need to do, let's get it done.
Yes, sir. And that's, like I said, so all I really need right now is just a commitment letter, just to lock in for a price.
Yeah, but I don't wanna wait to see what's behind goal number 2. Last month, you guys told us, now all of a sudden, we got 10 days to do this.
Well, they didn't find out till Tuesday, right, that the prices were going up 15% at a national meeting.
Okay, I'm all in favor of locking in the price. What I want to know is if we expand the scope to include Turtle, will that price be carried over for that? Or are we gonna have to pay more for Turtle because we didn't move forward right now?
I'll confirm that, but I know that they'll honor the price.
For Turtle as well as the scope that they currently have.
It was gonna be 350, right? So now you're talking 1,000,008 plus 350. I mean, we gotta know what we're talking.
It's probably gonna be more because of all of the cost increases. I mean, the petroleum cost goes up, that means LTDC is going up. As you're going up, everything's going up. Thank you, inflation.
Now.
That's why we need to get a firm price.
I gotta tell you something, meters are gonna cost $300,000 to 400,000 possibly when we. Now the dam irrigation and what have is gonna be 800,000 when we anticipated. I mean, this is a joke. No offense, guys.
Well, it's reality. I mean, you got the grocery store, it's the same way.
It's a million more. I feel like we're in the government.
I mean, the RFP
It was just a good job as a government.
As soon as we send out the RFP, we'll be able to lock in prices and give you exactly the numbers that go. As far as the RFP goes, we can then use qualifiers. Must have already done this project 4 or 5 times, whatever it is, to limit any bids, so there's not, some guy that says I can do it, it's local, that's never done a golf course. I mean, there's certain things we can certainly put in RFP languages to make sure that we're getting accurate coverage from a quality supplier.
You know what the most irritating thing is? 3 years ago, Alton told us it was $1.6 million. They told us that. They put it in writing. And then you guys come back this year and say it's $1.3 million.
It probably was $1.6 million like that 2 years ago.
And now it's gonna be 2 million. I mean, where you came up with your damn number of $1.3 million?
I mean, it's not
So
like
it's
we
even
figured it out
worse.
of there, but we're getting numbers from experts that we're talking to in Wesco and what the projects we're talking with. I mean, and now those are changing, unfortunately. As soon as we send it out to an RFP, we'll understand the cost, but I mean, until then, it's going to verify, obviously, we will lock in our pricing on the total product. At least we are locked in there and we will not go up. I mean, it's like Southwest is locks in on fuel, right? So when they go up, they don't have to pay it, so we can lock in the net rate.
Okay, but I think
That's
that,
what we're asking.
I think you've explained it. Beverly, Craig, do you have any comment?
Early on, I think you said something about piggyback. When we piggyback, don't we get to consider to go with the same people that did it before?
Right, because when you're piggybacking, I think if I recall correctly, we've changed the rules and it's in the past 24 months. So as long as the contract has been publicly bid in the past 24 months and the supplier is willing to honor that contract, they don't have any legal, the contractor does not have a legal obligation to grant the piggyback. The only thing the piggyback does is it allows us to avoid the public bid process.
Okay, so with that in mind, can we piggyback this?
Yes.
If we can find.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. In talking with Andrew yesterday, he says that just because of what Andrew did.
Talk to who?
Andrew, our Wesco representative. I mean, he's trying to handle everything he can for you all. If you wanted to go public, then we'll go public. But he says.
Our RFP requires it, unless we're piggybacking. Now, what's the requirement of piggyback?
Well, that's what I'm saying. All the piggyback does is if there's a contract that's out there that's been bid in the past 24 months, we are allowed to say, we're not going to go through the public bid process, we're going to piggyback off of this contract. But the supplier or the contractor has to agree to that. They don't have any legal obligation to agree to that. They said, we signed this contract 24 months ago, our prices have gone up, we're not going to offer that pricing.
Right. Has Wesco had a project within the last 24 months that is similar to ours that we can piggyback on?
Yes, sir.
Does that include the installation? Does it include the whole project?
Yes. And I'll get it in writing for you as well.
So do we,
You see where I'm going with this?
so what I'm hearing is Lander is the one that probably would be the one we piggyback with. And the question is, would they commit to doing this new project based on what they charged us for the old project?
Yes, sir.
Well, so I just want to reiterate, we're getting a little too far out in front here. All we need to do is lock in pricing with Wesco stating that we're going to do that. We'll be coming to the next meeting with more information and answer these questions. So all we need to do from the board is say yes, we commit to Wesco to lock in these prices before November 1st. And then the process will flow, and then we will get to these questions, we'll answer these questions in the next meeting.
Okay, I'm not sure we're getting ahead.
Beverly, do you have any correction?
This is not, we're just doing one little baby step, guys.
Right.
Just one little baby step, that's all we need to do.
But it's the baby step that comes in the big step. That's
No,
my,
but we don't have the next step until we do the first step.
If you guys would like, I'll have it.
okay,
Well, we're just seeing how the vote comes out before we,
That's
you know,
fine.
you don't have to do anything until we say yes or no. Okay?
Right, so we can get out of it.
Any other comment by the board? Okay, any public comment? Okay, David, do I need a motion for this? or-
Well, you can make, I mean, someone can make a motion if you want to, like I say, and I unfortunately don't have, I haven't reviewed any of this documentation, I understand it all just came in recently, but if I understand it correctly, they're basically saying, or what they're basically asking for is a letter of commitment that says, if we move forward with this project, we are going to use these Toro products, but the district is under no obligations to do that.
and you'll write that all.
No, I mean, that's what I'm understanding. I haven't seen this paper that you have to look at. So I'm understanding, make sure I understand correctly that they're basically wanting us to send a letter of commitment saying that, yes, if we move forward with this project, we are going to use Toro products. Is that
At
accurate?
this price.
At this price, yeah.
And
I would like for him to see this and read this.
He's got it right there. So, we'll,
He's got it. He's got it.
where I'm not clear is we're making this commitment with them based on the fact that we are piggybacking on the old contract. Is this pricing for the new Toro product the same as the pricing for the product we've done in the past, but it's different, it's not a piggyback. No, we're not. We got legal aspects. If we're making a commitment to buy this product and we are required to go out for an RFP, then we're making an invalid commitment. If we are totally piggybacking, these prices are the same prices we paid on the prior contract, then we're okay to do that.
Sure.
And I need that clarified.
I'll see my clarify. So the idea of going with Wesco was not a piggyback, it was a sole source, because we are already currently using Wesco products. So the commitment to Wesco is not a piggyback, it's not a sole source. And I know Omar's no longer here, but he was the one that had all that information. But as far as Omar. So, and then I would ask David, if that's all correct, if you can use Wesco on a sole source perspective, because we already currently have Wesco products on our course.
All your satellites are already on Toro, all your hits are.
Everything's already for that we use now, so that's, that answers the question.
We just need David to tell
Yeah,
us.
so, I mean, this letter specifically states, it says Southern Lake does not need to take delivery of the product and will have the right to cancel the order. So there's no risk to the district based on this letter. And my guess is what they're saying is if we want to use these products, let's order them now before the price increase comes. If they place the order and then we change our mind, they're just gonna sell them at the marked up 15% rate to somebody else.
Would we have to do an RFP for these products?
No, because I mean, we're basically telling them that if we go forward with this project,
We're gonna buy their.
we're gonna use these products. They're gonna place that order based on our.
We're allowed to do that.
Correct.
You already
Because we have the opportunity to cancel it if we change our mind.
We're not giving anybody else the opportunity, right?
We don't have to go out of bid, so it's done.
Well, I mean, it depends, because we don't have to go out to bid for this part, but I mean, obviously, these things are sitting in the warehouse somewhere. They're gonna have to be installed. That's gonna have to be bid out unless we have a piggyback. If I understand that correctly, there's eventually a piggyback out there. Once again, what everybody needs to understand about piggybacking is the contractor has no obligation to honor those prices. So we can ask, all the piggybacking does is it allows us to avoid the public bid process.
Okay, but if the piggybacking is not at the same price, then it has to go up to RFP.
Correct, yeah, I mean, yeah, correct.
So the other question here comes to the sole source. Wesco, all of our equipment on golf courses is Toro equipment. So on a sole source basis, can we commit to Toro without going out to bid for the Toro products?
Well, let's say based on this, we've already committed to that product.
No, they're asking us to commit to that.
Correct, yeah, so if we agree to this, that that's removed from the project. If we say, yes, we're going, it's a sole source project.
But can we commit to buying $250,000 worth of product without going out to bid because it's a sole source?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I move that we approve to commit to that product.
thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Now, Dave, you want to just
No,
tell us what we just made a motion?
So basically what we're approving,
made a motion, you don't know what it is?
the motion in the second is that we are going to allow a letter of intent or to be responded to in order to lock in these prices. Based on this letter from Wesco Current.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And this saves us 30,000, right?
15%, 274.
35 to 40.
Any public?
Huh?
Public, I guess since we've had a motion in the second and we're getting ready to vote, we need public.
Public comment.
Bill Locust, resident. I see the bantering back and forth. I understand that. You got piggybacking, you got two projects. What they want to try to do, if I understand, is just lock in the price. And I think you have agreed to that. So very simple out there. So I hope that the price can be locked in. The same 15% is a lot of dough. Couple of new cars. And it's very important to do lock in these prices, right?
Okay, Kelly.
Supervisor Phillips,
Oh, wait a minute.
I just have, can I have a request? Let's assume we pass this. Or at the next meeting, can you tell us what exactly your plans are? That include turtles and what your recommendations are?
He's working on it right now, so I will have trouble. I thought I might have by next week.
And we will have prices.
Yes, sir. All the allied stuff's being bid right now
And I like to know, do you want to do turtle next year, do you want to do turtle the year after? I mean, what you guys want?
Well, to be honest with you, I'd rather do it now because before you guys build a water plant, because when you build a water
We
plant.
run into a little bit of a financial thing, because we'll probably be over $2 million on the project, which is about 700,000 more than the project.
Yep.
Which doesn't seem to bother it. Though we have a million. I don't know. Okay, I thought it was.
It's $1.7 million. It's $1.7 million that's in the budget.
Okay, thank you. Any other comment?
Just be sure that we try to get a commitment to that price for both projects.
I will, I'll follow up. I'll have this. So who's gonna generate the letter? Dave or Chris and Dave?
Yeah.
And try to get more information and try to get it right, not right the day of the meeting.
I literally.
Okay. I understand, and no fault, because I'm sure that's, you're telling the truth, but you just do the best you can to inform this board, and I think you are, so. Kelly, can we have a vote?
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Herrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
No.
Supervisor Hoteling,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin.
Yes.
Thank you again. We apologize for the short notice, but obviously it was kind of urgent. I do want to go through more dates. I want to remind the board that November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is the minor league golf tournament on Deer Run. We're just taking up a small window of 2 times for those 3 days. It doesn't affect the block, but just want to make sure you do that. Also on Friday the 5th, we do have the Advent Health Celebrity event that will be on both courses in the morning. That should be very exciting. It's something that's going to be a really good event. Looking forward to it. On the membership side, just to bring up to speed, we sold over 267 memberships at over $861,000. It's $120,000 out of last year's base and is 67% of our budget for the year. Just want to update the board. We've had several discussions on it, but currently we have fell to the CDC's orange category for COVID transmission.
And the way things are looking, I feel like that's going to fall together here probably by the end of the month. What that does is that reduces our company-wide mask mandate to not be mandatory anymore, it's falls together. It becomes not mandatory for those who have been vaccinated, it is still mandatory for those who are vaccinated or not vaccinated. Anyway, on that note, we had discussions about a two-person per car policy as that level came down, so I'm at the point right now where I need to kind of figure out where we're going, because I need to get easy go for 20 car or 10 car lease coming up. And if we're gonna keep the policy relaxed like it is now, then I need to order probably 20 cars to November 1st, which is right around the corner, so. If we want to go back to being more stringent on 2 people in a cart, then we can probably maybe go back to what we had budgeted for, which is 10 in January. So I just want to run that by the board. How does the board feel about our 2-person per car policy? We are currently in a relaxed phase where we're allowing people to ride single cart riders. And if that is the intent of the board going forward for the next couple of months, I need to know, because I need to plan for that.
When 2 people, when they're driving individually, are they using private cars or are they using your cars?
There's both, and they will use our carts. They will use more of our carts, so we can navigate that however you want. We can say you're gonna pay for our car or you're not. Currently, if you are a member of the club and you want to take a second cart, you're allowed to use our car. We can be strict about that, and then that will reduce the need for extra carts that we're gonna have to pay for, which now that we're on a new lease is higher than it was in the past. It's gonna be more than last year.
How much is 10 cards?
I wanna say they are $1,000 a cart a month.
For $10,000 a month.
No, I'm sorry, it's $100 a cart per month, so it's $1,000 a month for 10 carts, sorry.
Well, I think we should leave everything as is until we go to yellow.
Right.
Like, that happens.
I feel we're gonna go to yellow by the end of the month, so I know
So
the
we're
first.
just basically talking one talk, because I just don't think that you can mandate that somebody ride with somebody that's not vaccinated.
Sure.
Not-
I'm okay with that decision, I just need to know. Because I know the plan for
And that's the way we are
currently.
currently. I just don't think another month would make that much difference.
I think for $1,000.
Yeah.
We do.
I do
In
too.
my opinion.
Well, if we go to, there's also a mobilization fee, which we're gonna pay anyway.
Just want to make a clear comment on rental carts. Rental carts are in short demand. We're very fortunate here that we have a agreement that says they have to give us rental carts. So as much lead time as we can give our provider E-Z-Go, you get us rental carts in here, that would help. Because the idea of calling up and getting them the next day doesn't happen anymore. We gotta give them a plan. So if he wants to bring 20 carts in or 10 carts in November 1, that's kind of what we're looking for, is how do we plan it out? Because normally it's January 1, so we're kind of saying, we need our standard 10 or 20.
What are we getting? Have we been getting close at all on total usage?
Not currently, but that's gonna increase dramatically as we go into November. Last year, yeah, last year we got carts November 15th. And we got 20.
Let me ask, what are we doing for the celebrity tournament? Are we gonna need cards for that?
Currently, we do not.
They're gonna fill both courses and we're gonna need more cards?
They are not gonna go over 200 players currently.
Right.
Is
it, I read in the paper, and I don't know if I read it right, that the county had last week 100 cases of COVID. Is that right?
95.
Okay,
True.
okay.
And
So we're going down.
Right, so just so you know, the threshold as far as case rate is, if it goes below 50 per 100,000, which our counties may have 100,000. So once it's at 95 and it came down from 160, well, 160 to 95, so it's trending down, the threshold is 50.
So we're trending towards that rapidly. So we'll be in the yellow, I'm assuming by the end of the month. I'm okay, I'm just letting you know, if I order 20 carts in November, we're gonna be over budget.
And your belief is that if the first of November, if we started charging $10 a cart,
We could charge.
that would reduce the draw on the cart, so you wouldn't need to.
It will, I'm sorry, I said,
So if we started charging first of November and said, okay, we're no longer going to provide complimentary cart, we're gonna charge $10 for the cart, but that would reduce the number of people that would pay the second cart. They'd still make it available if they wanted it, but they'd have to pay $10.
that is definitely something we can do, and that will definitely, it should reduce the amount of carts going out, but it also decreases the burden of purchasing them as well.
The answer to the question is yes. We have it everywhere we've been, that we've instituted a cost factor the manual.
Then I think that's a fair compromise. The risk has gone down. If people still want to take a cart and not ride singly, they can. But I think charging $10 for that cart is a reasonable thing that we should do, and I recommend that's what we do.
You want to charge them $10 to take a cart?
If they want to take a cart, their membership doesn't include use of our cart. So if they're going to use our cart because they want to ride singly, then yeah, paying $10 for a cart, I think is a reasonable thing to do.
A member?
Does membership include use of our cart?
Membership includes part, yeah.
That includes their card. If you're a member, you have a personal relationship, you pay exchange. You pay extra for using our card. You pay extra.
We paid trail fees.
I can pay
$500 a year.
So if they're a member that can't use our cart, then they can use our cart. But if they're paying to use our cart with somebody else, correct or not?
Yeah, typically in that situation, obviously, in a normal year with 2% card policy, a lot of those times, those members actually ride with another member, or we would definitely try to double them up in a normal, under a normal policy.
I mean, I'm okay with waiving the $10 fee if they're paying $500 a year to use our cart. But if they're just a member that has paid their membership fee to use their cart, and for whatever reason, they need a second cart because they're playing with a friend they don't want to ride with, or whatever reason, I think charging for the cart is a reasonable thing to do, and it takes some of the burden off the expense. So we don't have to raise the rates even more.
Why do we wait till we have a problem?
We have a problem, that's what he's telling you, that if we don't do something by November 1, he has to get 20 carts in here now, as opposed to 10 carts in January. That's the problem he's telling us.
He doesn't know that. He's estimating that's what he's going to need. He doesn't know he needs them yet.
But if we wait, I can't have them here today. I need to get them taken care of today.
We complain because he's not proactive, and then when he's proactive, we complain that he's trying to be proactive.
Again, do we need another?
I don't think we need a vote on this. I just want direction.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't, there's consensus is fine.
Okay,
I'll tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and put the order in for the 20 cars. And I'm gonna have them here, I'm gonna see if I can get them here by November 15th.
Wait for the consensus. Is that what everybody
I'm gonna
wants?
try to do.
well, let's get a consensus.
That's more or less what I'm looking to do, unless we wanna be a little stricter on our policies.
So far, I'm the only one who's opinionating here. Nobody's arguing with me or agreeing with me, so I don't know where the rest of the board is.
Do we have opinions down there?
I think that if he thinks he needs them by November 15th, I think he should do it.
And the other issues with the number of charge.
But with the charge, I only have one friend that joins and has to pay $500 above because he doesn't have a card. And so that he's gonna be hit for about $6,000 this year, so. Yeah, but most of our members have cards. But, for those that don't own a card and join as a member here, you know, and if somebody won't ride with you, then you know, I don't have an opinion either way. It just seems to me like it's not that.
The issue turns out to be when, like, both husband and wife play, right? You have one
Yes.
cart,
Yeah.
husband plays one side, wife goes on the other, has a tea time later in the day. And then they come in, they want to utilize one of this carts, facility carts, because they don't want to ride with someone. That's how it usually works out. And that's where we run into issues that, you know, so they pay a trail fee for their cart. But normally, you know, Mike and I were a couple, we play on one side on the other, I'm gonna jump on somebody if I have concerns. Then I'm willing to, myself, I'm willing to pay the extra $10 rather than if I didn't want to run, if I was that concerned. I'm personally not, I jump on carts, but
Yeah, my friends would jump on another cart without any, but there's some that want to do that.
and there's some that won't do that, that's where the fee deters their action, right? It's like, I'll jump on I'll ride a cart by myself. But if I gotta pay a $5 fee or $10 fee, I'll jump on with somebody rather than pay the fee.
I just, somebody, make a motion or something that we can just vote on it. Okay, do we have a second to Neil's?
Clarify your motion, Neil. Is it $10? Is it $10, right?
Yeah, we charge $10 to any member that hasn't paid the $500.
What are we charging to the people from outside?
Same thing, if they wanna ride singly,
Forget them.
If the public wanted to do that, we would charge them an extra cart fee,
That's right, they already do that. They already do that.
it would be another $17.
You actually have that many.
You know, the public's not doing that. Public friendly too.
No, because if they have to pay $17, Craig, they won't, you know, they just won't do it.
But I can't. That's suggesting that our members are going more to running the cart.
they are the ones that are creating the situation that we're having to deal with.
How many months do you need the extra carts?
Typically, in a normal year, we get them mid-January through mid-March. So now, as we did, and we only get 10,
So you're saying November through March?
and it would be.
5 months.
So we're gonna double the amount of time we're here, we're gonna double the amount of time.
5 months, $5 months at $1,000 a month.
No, because he's saying he needs 20 if we're
So
not
it
trying
it would be
to change
changed.
the policy.
How much is it a month?
Plus mobilization.
How much is it a month?
It's $2,000 and then you're gonna have, you gotta pay them for 20. You gotta pay to bring them here, you gotta pay to ship them back, so you pay mobilization too. So if I'm gonna do it, I wanna do it one time, that's what I'm saying, I wanna ship them once and not have to ship 10 and then try to get 10 more later.
Well, how much is mobilization?
It's right around 1,000, I don't know exactly. I will send you that number.
So, I'm sorry, how much a month is it?
It's
10 carts or whatever you
It's
talk
$100
about.
per month.
That's $1,000 a month.
For 10.
That's what we budgeted. We budgeted $1,000 a month for January through March. He's saying if we don't address the problem, we need to do it now, and we need to do 20 carts instead of 10. So it's gonna be $2,000 a month from November through March instead of $1,000 a month from January to March. That's
We're
what
talking $7,000 total.
If you're.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
So we're,
That's not close to 600,000, so let's do 7,000.
You better be consistent, they're not very consistent.
we are subsidizing $7,000 as opposed to inconveniencing members who want to use a second cart $10 a round. Doesn't sound like a wise decision.
Does anybody want a second Neil motion? If not, come up with a different one.
Gio's motion is that you charge members $10 if they want to take their single card. If they're not already paying, I guess there's some members pay if they don't have their own card. So if a member has their own card and they want a second card, that would be one of the district's cards, they have to pay $10.
Do we have any clue how many members don't pay for their own card? Are we talking nothing?
I mean, I don't see the $10 being a couple people a day. But because I think those folks, they want
people a day. It's what's the problem?
and that's if you pay for it. I think it'll be more if you don't pay for it.
I do too. I second Neil's motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second,
Now we have that talk about
and we're up. And does everybody know what the motion and second is?
This is to charge $10 a card to
Yeah.
people who haven't paid for their own card.
Trent?
It will
Okay.
probably amount to $200 a month.
Okay, is there any public comment?
Yes.
Bill Norcross, resident. Look, we've gone through this thing all the way back to Ron Wonderly when he was here. They wanted to charge an extra $5 for members to have an additional card. It was immediately rejected by the board because they thought it was unfair because you are paying trail fees out there. It's quite $1,700 or so. And you take a look at, Mike just come up with the figures here that made $861,000, which is about $200,000 in the plus, which is great. This is great. Yeah, 267 members, which is great. But you know, the circumstances now, and like you have a car that has to be repaired, batteries, tires, the whole work. I spent over $7,000 for a golf cart up there. It's a nickel and dime people for $10. That's $80 a month that would cost me. And I don't think that's fair. Now, if you want to, you gotta make sure that everybody doubles up, I understand that, you know, but
We're not trying to make sure they double up. We're saying it's preferred that you double up. If for some reason you feel a need to ride single, that's fine. We'll make the card available. It's just not free.
well, I have a situation that my car is being used because she is playing in the morning and I can't walk this golf course.
That's fine. Then you can use the card for $10.
You think that's fair?
I don't think it's more than
That's
fair.
nickel and dime deal.
That's
I'm
not-
sorry.
That's not nickel
And
and
I don't
dime.
think the rest of the
Because
people would like it either.
The alternative is we've got to spend another $7,000 to get more carts to make it available for people to ride single. And that's gonna cause us to raise the prices even more. So instead of penalizing everybody, we're saying, if you wanna ride singly, you pay a little bit more to take our cart. That's not unreasonable.
No, well, unless you really know the situation, daily situation, and the cost factor here, we've gone up at our rates. Now you want a nickel and dime people for $10.
You want to nickel and dime us, so we've got to go higher with our rates. What's happening? You're asking us to be nickel and dime.
Well,
We're just saying, we're making the carts available. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm just trying to be reasonable. I don't think we should be doing many single carts, but I understand that in this situation, some people feel that's a necessary thing. Okay, if they feel that way, a $10 fee isn't that much.
I disagree because there's multiple factors here. It would cost me $80 a month more.
Only if you want to ride singly.
I don't want to. I want to be able to have the use of a golf cart because you don't always pair up. You may have a twosome or a threesome or a foursome. And I always try to pair up with anybody who wants to ride with me because I take my vehicle 99% of the time. Like I have it right out there.
Right.
And I tell you what, right now, it was just a thing that Mike wants to do, charge nickel and dime, maybe Troon's policy to do that, but I think it's unfair to the members that we pay extra money already this year.
Don't blame Mike, blame
Thank
me.
you, Bill.
Well, he
Time
posted
expired.
several times.
Time's expired. Thank you.
Thank you. I got, you're talking about 20 carts. If you're charging them $10, you don't need 20 carts, you go back to 10 because you say it's going to.
Or zero, or wait till January.
What?
Or I can probably get zero and wait till January. I mean, that's,
So we're eliminating the immediate expense and we'll evaluate whether they get 10 or 20 in January.
and probably my overall feeling is I probably only need 10 cards in November if we do not do this. But the problem is I'm gonna have to get 10 more in January if we do not do this, because I'm gonna need 20 then. So then I'm gonna have to pay mobilization fees twice if I do it that way, so I might as well get the 20 now. Does that make sense?
No, if you think it's gonna actually go down by spending $10 more, then you don't need 20 carts.
Okay, Mike, I think we discussed this enough. I mean, I think we need to vote and move on. Okay, Kelly?
Before we vote, I'd like to know what I'm voting. Am I voting on?
This is the charge.
But does that give the commissioner go like 20 cards?
No.
What is the rest of it?
No.
So he's not buying nothing. We're just gonna collect $10. He doesn't get the extra cards.
Correct. He's still using the budget of 10 carts in January, but not getting any new carts now.
And if the guy's in a threesome, it just happens to be a threesome, and he needs a company car, you charge him $10. I'm telling you, it's administrative.
This is what we, I know this is what we live in. I
It's administrative time.
But
Because that's gonna be charged $10. If he's part of a threesome, he can't join somebody.
and that, I think that can.
That's an accommodation.
They want black and white.
The black and white is if the golfer requests to ride singly, they pay. If it's a threesome, it's not a request to ride singly, it's
It is.
the situation.
Okay, Kelly. Yeah,
Supervisor Hoteling,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
No.
Supervisor Herrick,
No.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin,
yes.
Okay.
I would like for you to keep track of how much this wonderful, how much we're talking about.
It'll have a scheme on that. All right, and the next update, so obviously, I don't know if you've been in around the clubhouse, but we've been updating the banquet room. We're nearing completion, Mike's guys have been a lot of big help. We've recently replaced all the ceiling tile and the ceiling vents that were falling apart and rusting. We painted all the walls, and we put up a chair rail to protect those walls. The new chairs have arrived this week, and the new drapery is scheduled to go in next Wednesday. That will complete that project. In the kitchen, we did hire a new sous chef, which fills that current vacant role, and so we're currently still looking for an executive chef, and we probably need a couple more line cooks to have our full roster. We're currently operating, not necessarily a little short-handed, but it's a little tight right now, but it's everything's been working out so far. As our executive chef is still on property, I think the pressure will increase when he does leave. Working through a few contingency plans to try to work our way through that, if that does not get filled right away. Although the goal is to try to fill that as soon as possible.
Mike, do we really need an executive chef?
I absolutely believe so, yes. We need somebody that can run an a la carte business, a banquet business, control costs, and take care of a full crew. I mean, we have a pretty darn large restaurant
I
footprint.
mean, isn't it like chief chef, or, we seem to, we're not a gourmet restaurant.
Right.
I don't know the word.
You can call it what you will, and the price doesn't necessarily matter, it's more the operating.
The executive chef is essentially the manager of the kitchen.
Right.
Have to salary.
It depends on how good the chef is.
Depends on what we're doing, absolutely.
Is Troon helping you with this?
Yes.
Can they bring people in?
Yes, and they have sent me a candidate or two that have taken other jobs or hasn't worked out yet so far, but yes, they are willing to help.
And how long will our first chef be? In 2 more weeks?
Yeah, basically 2 more weeks.
And that's all I have. Unless anyone has any questions for me.
Yeah, I got a question. I actually, it's common. I played deer run yesterday. And the conditions of the tee boxes are at best terrible. To open them in the condition that they're in, when you envision a new tee box, I don't think you envision what we got.
Yeah, some of the tee boxes are farther ahead than others, and I don't have to do it.
I mean, it's like.
There's some that have, some less stuff will continue to get better as we go. The tee boxes are playable, the ones that are open, they're not all open, the ones that are open are playable, and will continue to get better as we go. So some of the tee boxes that were out there, in my opinion, when they were not on the tee boxes, were ideal. I mean, we had a couple that were actually in the rough for the WGA tournament last week because they wanted to have the yardage correct. I think the tee boxes that are up now, for the most part, are very playable. They're not totally complete with the growing yet, but there's plenty of turf there and they are playable. And they're not all open yet. We'll open them as we go.
The ones that are open, I mean, how are you gonna get the ones that are open under control if you have people all? I don't think it changes that. We paid $135,000 back. You gotta be kidding me.
No. Jimmy.
So we're still continuing to fertilize weekly and still continuing to top dress and hand top dress as well. The whole purpose to move them up was that they keep getting moved around. So we have members that are actually putting, like number 2, for instance, that are putting the tees on there themselves. Okay, so there's really not a good hitting spot on some of the tees, like number 12, for instance, that was on the left side of the tee box. It was also creating issues with where they were driving because the 3 and 4 carts, they keep driving over the left side of number 3, or they keep driving everywhere to get to those tees out in the fairways. They won't use the cart pass, and if they do, they're coming all the way around to do it. So I have not had a complaint at all, besides you, Mr. Brooks, as far as the tees. We've had a lot of compliments that they're capable of that they're up on. And we will continue to work. They're
Obviously, the members see the tee boxes differently, so I will take that all back and say these are the perfect tees.
I'm not saying that. We're gonna continue to push them. I mean, we do it every week.
Do what you want. You guys have excuses for everything.
Jimmy, Mike, just keep trying, okay? Thank you. Ariel, are you in this?
Yes, I am. So just a few updates regarding events here in the district. So last week, we've had an outdoor movie night over here in the recreation area. We had a blow up screen and we showed the movie Hocus Pocus. That was well attended. We have about 65 people in attendance. It's something we plan to continue doing throughout the year. We had a couple things we learned from that one that we'll do better for the next one, but overall it was a very successful event. Also, the district historically participates in trick-or-treating at the same time as the city of Sebring, and that is going to be on Saturday, October the 30th. This year, in lieu of doing the door tags, we're just going to encourage folks to flip on their light if you're encouraging trick-or-treaters to come to your house, just kind of like anyone else. It's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m.
Light off if you don't want to.
Light off if you don't. Obviously, we can't. You may still get knocks on your door. We really can't do anything about that, but just don't answer from 6 to 9 then.
While we're talking about that, are you gonna have people out there
Yes.
like we did last year?
Yeah, because I already talked about that, the other staff on that.
Yeah, I turned my light off for 288 last year.
I was one.
All right, so then. That's correct.
That's that really good truth.
Yeah, you have the good candy. So then additionally, starting on November the 2nd, we're going to be reinstituting our Coffee and Conversations event. That was obviously temporarily paused back in 2020, but we are going to be starting that up again. That is going to be held at 9 a.m. on Tuesday mornings here in the community center. We've got a good lineup of different businesses and organizations that come in and talk to the residents and bring donuts, and we provide the coffee for them. And then this is kind of looking forward a little bit, but just to let you know, we are going to be doing our December events again, which is the Santa Claus fundraiser, where we do the pictures with Santa in the dog park for residents to bring their animals for a donation to the Sebring Angels. And then we will also do our yearly Christmas light challenge, where folks can enter their home, dress up their home with lights or for the Christmas season. And then we do like a voting situation and they can win gift cards. So we will be doing that this year as well. Every year that event continues to grow, the number of homes that we have. So that's just kind of something nice, lights up the district real nice for the holiday season. The last thing that I want to kind of ask the board for some direction on is with regards to the racket club. So obviously, as we all know, we've had a little bit of a transition for pricing for residents, where now residents are not having to pay for their membership. Overall, the transition has been really well and we're really well received. We have had a couple of instances where we have had folks who signed up for a membership within a very, very close window of time to that October 1st date, where it then was free. So they have asked for a refund of that membership. Typically, we don't offer refunds. One option could be that we offer to let them kind of transfer that to another membership that's the same price, which I think would probably just be the pool or the gym. That's one option, or we can give them the refund based on a date that you kind of see fit. So if you guys think that that's the best option, then I'm just looking for some direction for kind of a cutoff date so that we have some guidelines going forward if the request comes forward.
Are we looking at like 5 or 10 or?
Right now, we're only looking at 2. So it's not many, and that's why my ask would be if there was a cutoff date that we said any resident who signed up after this particular date, you can elect to or not to, and we will go forward with whatever it is that you choose. We have,
How many do you have that signed up
within the don't have that exact number offhand. It's not going to be many, but
I was
You're saying that people who they don't have to pay going forward, but they want a refund on what they've already paid.
so what's happening is that if you signed up on September the 30th for a racket club membership as a resident, if you would have waited a day, it would have been free. So you can.
They paid how much?
Why are you guys?
It's $125 plus tax.
Surely we would have told
For
people
individual.
this, right?
Well, surely it was in a lot of meetings and a lot of board meetings. I mean, it was very well known. It wasn't a secret. We talked about it plenty in board meetings and it was advertised in the paper. So
When did these 2 people?
within 2 weeks before that date, I believe.
I would refund that.
I would too.
Okay, and so if that is the
Yeah, that's it.
From what date? So
That's why we should be fine.
okay, yeah. So or would the preference be to go from like September 15th if you signed up after September 15th, or what would the date be? Because
Go September 15th.
okay.
It's October 1st.
Yes, and we can go forward with that. We just need to know so that we can provide that consistently so that if 3 more people come and say, I signed up on the 25th.
Fiscal year, if you have a problem, you do like you just did, you bring it to us and we tell you it's okay.
Which is exactly, yeah, which is what I'm doing. So if we say no refund, then no refund. If we're saying if you signed up after the 15th and they come in and want a refund that we have the permission to grant that, then that's what we'll do. I just need direction going forward so that I'm not the one making that decision.
Let's see how many. I think she got that.
Why would we take?
Yeah.
Oh, we should have just.
Yeah.
Or we should have just told.
Yeah, that's what I said, refund. We didn't have a mistake.
You have 3 that joined at the end of August, and you have 1.
I'm gonna say 5 or less. 5 or less
That signed up in the last year.
would have been like end of August going forward.
And that will be refunded from last year's.
Yeah, I think the board said give their money back, but next time when something like this comes up, I think maybe we should have told them
Not to sign up.
not to sign up, but you know, that's it's or make a fee to get it till October, you know,
Right,
You could prorate those that sign up now.
Right, it's not a big deal, but just give them like that.
okay, so is it the 15th date? Is it anyone?
Usually.
Use your best judgment. I like that. That I can do. I have good judgment, so we'll be
Very good.
wise with that. Okay, thank you, and that's all.
Okay. Is there any other staff reports?
Anything on CPR?
On CPR, not yet. We have some folks who have already gotten it in the office, but no, I'm sorry, you're talking about for the residents. For the community. Yes, no, we have not looked into that yet. We will. That's something that we're hoping to do in season. Which obviously is coming up, but probably I would say would be after the first of the year to get everyone here, if that's a date you're kind of comfortable with.
Have you talked to Mike about it? He's doing the same thing.
Mike
I know
Curley?
you guys, I know Walt White was saying, he's trying to arrange it.
Okay, yes.
You guys probably should talk to each other because you're doing the same thing.
Gladly.
Okay, general counsel reports?
Okay, not a lot. Do have an update about our favorite house, 5801 Granada. I guess the building inspector, Ottawa County Building Department issued a recommendation. It sent a letter off to the owner, but basically the recommendation is that the trusses and the plywood sheeting has to be removed. If the project's going to move forward, but you know, we'll see what happens there, and then it may get kicked back to code enforcement. So obviously nothing's going to happen quickly. However, based on this recommendation, I believe that the property is now in violation of our minimum maintenance standards. So we can issue a fine, which an ongoing fine unless the house is compliance. But then again, that's not going to be speedy either. All that's going to do is, as the fine ratchets up, gives us the ability to foreclose and potentially take the property back. But it's not, nothing's going to happen quickly. So basically, we're just looking for some direction from you guys. If you want to leave it in the county's hands, or if you want us to take some action, start issuing fines on the property and potentially foreclose on it down the road if it's not properly compliance. Well, the county's going to do what the county's going to do. So I mean,
Just removing trusses and the plywood, you're still gonna have that shell sitting there. I recommend both.
Yeah.
I'll get with Mr. Hurley and we'll get the social worker guy out there. The unit 12 stuff, and I got some documentation yesterday. We were doing it over the weekend, but I will still be in the process. I don't know if we'll close by the end of October, but we'll probably be close. I would definitely say that that'll be closed probably in the first week of November at the latest. So probably by the next board meeting, that'll be closed, and the process, the letters about the total individual lots that are stricken around next week. So hopefully we'll get some more properties back and we can turn around and sell them for
Any of those lots that we're trying to get back has nothing to do with what's going on now, right?
correct. No, that's just, we have an agreement with Hornick that the district will use its best efforts to obtain those lots. So that's what we're going to do. And if we obtain them, then those are lots that we can sell them, pursuant to the agreement that we have.
On the lots that he bought, or two sections that he bought, is that going?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, that's what we're getting
That's
ready
going
to
to
close
hold,
on.
that's nobody dragging their feet.
No, nothing unless, like I said, I just got documentation yesterday from the title report, so we'll just move along.
Very good. Anything else? Okay. General manager report.
I put together a report, that you have a report packet, it's a number of items on it. I'm just questions. Then I mentioned we want to replacement project. We've already spent $7,600 on data related to the project. So buying meters is one thing, but transitioning the billing system and the yearly costs to maintain the billing system is about $12,000. We're also using that out-of-date version of that billing system, which is causing us some issues. But there were about $30,000 in meter-related costs that have nothing to do with meters. It's all the billing system interacting with the meters. Put a note in there, mandates from the legislative session for the statutes passed. They want a 20-year needs analysis done for your wastewater and stormwater system. And this basically includes what you have in the ground, what you need to have, where your deficit how much you have to fix it, and how much it's gonna cost to fix, and what are you gonna do about that gap between money you have and money you need? And that's due to the county next summer, and then the county forwards it up to the state. And I asked Drew, come up and just say a couple of things, because with the application to the SRF program for the stormwater, they collected a lot of this information. And some of this facilities plan will provide a lot of this information for these plans, and these plans will come to the board before we transmit them to the county, but it's a significant amount of administrative work, but it's needed on the management side. Our advantage can't measure, so this is really pushing that. And I just asked Drew to say a few things about the project, and also the mapping resources that are required for both the facilities plan and this plan. He has that information over in his office, and we're at a meeting today, so we can try to get copies of all that in-house in our office for updating the group.
Yes, the 20-year plan that the state's mandated, which you covered, it goes for all the drainage facilities that we have, as well as the water and sewer utilities. So it'll have to cover, you'll have to cover all of that in one due date here in the summer. The work that we're doing with portable water is going to assist with a lot of this information. It's a lot of it's going to overlap what we're paying, that $25,000 that they're requesting. It's going to help get that 20-year plan, because it'll do a needs analysis, and we'll take that needs analysis, and you're going to use that to develop the plan. Some of that 20-year plan is going to be a new wastewater plant, upgrades to the water plant, or a new water plant. They'll go over all that. We do still have some asbestos concrete water lines. I think we brought up a couple times in the board meeting, which we've had on and off plans to replace those, which I know we've had other emergencies that were more important, because they're not, right now, they're not failing and they're not having a lot of leaks. So, but that is something, it's definitely in a 20-year plan that we'll address. As for plans, we have a great deal of plans for all the drainage systems in the district, especially actual permitted plans of what has been submitted to construct over the years. The water and wastewater plans, of course, we have everything that we can, at least based off of the original as-built. We have data. As things have changed and field conditions have changed, sometimes we don't have everything. So some of that might need to be updated as we prepare the 20-year program to give to the state, which that will be good for the district to have either way. That way we have a more complete set of everything. And like I said, it'll be good for the analysis of the wastewater and water plants. So you'll have concrete data in front of you showing where we're at and what we need to do.
We're going to meet this afternoon to talk about what national resources are there, and what we need to update. Probably involve a lot of field work, recon work, things that are put in where they're actually located compared to the answers.
Would it make sense to expand the Florida Regional Water contract to incorporate more of this than what they're currently doing?
They do have a GIS service, and we'll talk to them about that. We're looking at this avenues right now, using the county's base map, and putting our information on the master of the GIS system. So we're going to look at that, because as long as we're handling that information, we only want people at once, and then make it available. That use for engineering purposes, development program, where the wrong lines at, how big are they, future plans. Sure, appreciate it. They will meet within this afternoon, staffings. Upgrading the AV system, we have a sound system up in those ways now, so we have cameras in November 12th, you're all on one screen. We have our meetings. We advertise for the front desk staff position, and then we're going to local television, another position related to Mike's retirement, upcoming, and also department. Landowner election coming up January 28th. 6 days prior to that, we start to formalize it too, bring up the count to November 12th, so people can start registering to run for the seat. And we'll be working with the county because they basically perform those election services for us. And a couple of updates that aren't in this plan that happened recently. We just did transfer of 8 lots from Veronda Homes to Auckland Pastures, which is our bondholder. And Auckland Pastures is going to sell these lots to Southern Homes. And that's over in that Palmerito, San Jose, Bella, Unit 5 area. We have a staff meeting. We're going to have an introduction of our public risk management group on November 8th. And taking off monthly safety meetings with the staff. Like video lessons, so it would be about 30-35 minutes, but to qualify for 2% credit on your premiums. They require those meetings, they require some sign-in sheets, what we talked about. And, it's just another step to reduce our exposure liability. You may have seen some trucks out there that will locate from the sidewalk project in front of the office and the club, and probably within the next 30 days, they'll be out there turning dirt. And they don't have a formal schedule to start when they're doing that stuff, and also put a placard up over the golf course so people will know what working on there.
Is that going to entail closing some of it?
No, sir. They're going to be working pretty much in the right of way. They'll have some maintenance and traffic occasionally. We'll be bringing some concrete, but disruption should be minimal. And it would be nice to have the sidewalk and we'll have a crossing. There more formalized crossbars. And I had said it, if you like to see them, we'll post those up too. We're also looking at talk about changing doing business. We have a meeting next week with Paychecks. They do the automated payroll, HR services, some of those things, and more it's the perfunctory putting in your time sheets and issuing the data to run your paychecks. And also they have a lot of HR functions where employee can get online and see how much lead time they have and input the form if they want for lead time. It just automates it.
Who does our payroll now?
Ariel's doing it right now.
Ariel does it right now, she does the payroll, so we're gonna hire a company to do what she does?
Well, we're gonna automate it to take that grunt work away and make it more effective and also better for the employees. And they also have a significant HR resource, and Ariel's handling that right now, but she's not an HR professional. So,
and she's doing those jobs by default because positions that didn't do those jobs are gone.
Maybe we go to see a new organizational chart.
well, we're just exploring this, and if we decide to go with Paychecks, will be this number 700,001 with clients they have, of businesses that use them.
That would have to come to us before you decide.
Yeah, I'll bring it to you. We're just having the exploratory meeting with them, getting the fees and structure and the services they provide. Yeah. And mentioned the golf tournament coming up, November 5th. And we're gonna meet with the golf folks after that to see if they need some assistance from us to put a little polish on there, whether they need some extra greeters out front, some extra trash removal services, some amenities for their tent or speakers or anything like that. This is gonna be a big deal as of this week, and then they had 168 people signed up. District has in their budget to do an annual contribution to the Advent Health fundraiser, and that'll entitle us to have a foursome in the tournament, or I should say a threesome. So I asked the chair if he'd like to participate in the other open slots. My idea was to just do a random drawing with members of the golf club, say, hey, we pick these two people, would you like to participate in this tournament? And I'm open to ideas, but they have some big names coming in, including Bo Jackson, Yankees players, Red Sox players, pitching coaches. The fellow that does the announcing was the 20-year announcer for the Red Sox at the game. He'll be doing the announcement. The players come to the tee, so it's going to be a big deal. And we certainly would like to put our best face forward, and would like to come back next year because they're planning on continuing this.
I went to the meeting Monday and met Mr. Gordon, and
it was nice that they're really gonna have some big names here. I mean, I can't remember them all, but it's gonna be nice for the husband. I don't know, for Sun Lake, I guess, people wanna go and try to glimpse and see who they are and what they look like, but it's gonna be quite something, and people are spending quite a bit of money on this, so.
They're gonna have a function at the track the night before, and they're gonna get out Friday morning early and have lunch in the restaurant, so it'll be a big deal all the way out.
And it's headed by Mr. Gordon. It used to be from Avon Brook, and quite a history just listening to him, so.
And he did have a funny comment to make. He said 21 years in different big leagues, and when he won the World Series with the Phillies, he took a lot of ribbing because he never got to pitch in the series. But he won the World Series.
Yeah, he said he got a World Series ring and never threw a pitch.
And that's all I have, in case you have any questions.
I just have one comment, as you get more and more repeat on the ground, and after the first of the year, I'd like to see 4 or 5 major objectives that you have for the balance of the year. Sure. And how they should be measured.
Sure. And in responding to that, planning put together a strategic planning workshop in January for the board. So we'd like to hear what the board priorities are individually. You know, what your top 5 or 10, put those on a list and rank them as individual board members, but then have the board rank those priorities as a group and have your top 10 priorities, and what we use that for is the work plan and the budget. And we'll ask the staff to do the same thing, and then compare board priorities with staff priorities and see where they come together. And one comment I make about that too is if the board set top priorities and we're driving that with the budget, it's top 10, well, in the middle of the year, if something comes up and becomes a new priority, that's fine, we'll put it in, but when's gonna come out? Maybe you have a workflow that's doable and by the whole board put together, but that'll be an hour or 2 workshop, but that should be very interesting.
Any other questions for sure?
Yeah, I was just wondering, can you give us an update on the meeting you had over with the county on the extension of Fort Task?
Sure. Yeah, well, Scott mentioned it, we sat down and
We don't know anything about it. I don't either. You had the meeting.
But we had the meeting was the principal Monday to talk to the county, and the chairman, I go meet with them and see what their framework is. How to pay for it, how to do it, what the time frame is, what we need to participate in, to get it on their priority list. And identify that whole framework and then bring it back to the board and see if they want to move forward.
The way he talked, I thought you guys had a meeting, not to have a meeting to have it.
Well, it was general, we just went over topics and some of the issues related there about the road actually having to shift over a little bit to the north. Drainage, there's a lot of issues related, besides just paving the road.
So do you anticipate meeting with them next month or?
Hopefully next week.
Oh, next week. Okay.
And when they had that, Ray, I'm on the committee with them, so, and I asked the same question you did, because it seemed to me like they were having several meetings before the meeting. So I did question the same thing, so I'll be in on the meeting. I'll just listen, because it's gonna be up to the 5 of us what we do. I'll be there to represent the board.
Sure, and the mindset with that is when meeting with Scott, then when I go in and talk to the department heads who are responsible for these things, he's aware of it, and I can go in and say, the commissioner said you're the person to talk to. So I'll start at the top and work my way down.
I can,
Have we heard?
I'm just gonna just fill in that when I met with the Scott, the county people in regards to the gas tax issue. The big message was that their road priorities, they've had so many priorities that they're backlogged, which means even if we get this onto a priority list, it could be a couple of years before we see anything happen.
Guess we better get on it, because a couple of years from now.
Exactly.
We may be in a situation
I don't disagree that it's time to get on with this.
Have we heard anything from that other company from Alabama about them, what their progress is? The company that bought the 309 lots.
Prominence.
No.
Should we maybe contact them and see what they're doing?
I think Mike met with him.
Yeah. I met with them.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mike met with him.
Yeah, we met with them, well, the preserve people met, I met with them actually, they talked about that stuff with the preserve. And they come close what they're gonna be doing and when they're gonna get here. And that's really it, we just try to, I mean, I try to explain the rules to them to make sure they stick with them. And they said they'd be calling, that's all they're saying.
Can you tell us what they told you when they're gonna get there, what they're gonna do?
They really wasn't sure because there was a representative from their company, and I asked him his title, and I don't know, some assistant, I don't know. But he was a nice guy, and they're gonna come down and meet with us, and we're gonna do a ride around. They really wanna know about the preserve, because I think that's where they're gonna start, I think that's what I got, so.
But any sense of the timeframe?
He just said that he can call me Florida, okay, we're in Florida.
So should we maybe not, like these guys committed to 309 lots, and they bought 309 lots, should we maybe not invite them down?
Come down as far.
Do we help them out? Do we? Answer the question.
Do we know that they closed on the properties? I didn't ask any of those questions. They just talked about the preserve, what they had to do to the preserve, what home, what size the homes had to be. So, I mean, that's just really much.
Can you get with Tanya and find out if they able to bid on the 539 lots, close on those lots?
Oh, yeah.
There's 539 sold in that last auction.
Yes.
Prominence bought 300 of those lots.
Was Prominence in the preserve? I thought they were out like the fence.
They're all
over.
They're all over, it's lots all over.
But I'm just wondering,
You did say
have
that
this
this
has the property, has the majority of the properties been closed on? Because otherwise they just go back to being bid or go to the next local bidder.
If they haven't been closed, so it's been like a month.
Well, the county does.
Yeah, the county owns, the indications where the county was closed in time to get them on the assessment for this year.
That's what I was thinking.
So they're closed right now?
No, I don't know.
Right?
Because they're not gonna get on the.
Well,
assessment.
my understanding, they were gonna close after the 1st of October.
Right.
Okay, so now it's.
I do have a contact, I'll contact you through there.
Well, Tanya should tell us that, or should be, the county should be able to tell us where the property's been closed. But they
I haven't transferred
transferred.
any, Daniel,
If they're gonna go ahead, I think we're gonna invite them down, talk to them, this is.
Like,
not to one of these meetings,
Huh?
not to one of these.
No, remember.
Oh, no.
I'd like to know what the bill.
What he said to me, what they said to me is more high-end homes. So whatever that means.
But they only, they gotta build a certain thing.
Well, you know,
They
he
can't,
said he puts.
I mean, I don't know what you have to,
He said,
they have
he
regulations.
built to high-end, that's all.
Yeah.
So I don't know what high-end is.
Yeah. But it doesn't make any difference, they have to do,
Do
they
what?
have to do what the county and us have.
Exactly.
Well, they're right, so Southern Homes is doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So we're gonna send it on to them.
I don't think it's.
Okay, is that it?
That's all I have today.
Unfinished business. New business. Committee reports, discussion to and from the board. Well, just I'll get to that. I don't think so. Anybody have anything? Okay, I just have one question about the lots. Like, what Craig mentioned. Even as far back as when Omar was here, that there was people clearing lots that don't, they just all of a sudden just start clearing the lots. I just think that we need, even when Omar here, it wasn't too big. we need somehow to have people aware. I mean, I drive around 2-3 times a week, and there, in the last 2 weeks, there has been 20 cleared. And I'm wondering, I have no way of knowing. The reason we caught the 3 that 2 months ago is that I mentioned to Omar who was doing it, he didn't even know they were clearing it. So what we need is, you know, it's just like that guy that broke the bike. They didn't even get a permit, they just went out there and broke the bike.
They got it.
They got it afterwards, I know they paid dearly for it, but I would like somehow to work on it, to make sure that that somebody is watching
Well, we
their.
got the place now, Mike, you and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
Bob from the law enforcement, when he rides, we start to mark down all the lots that are being cleared.
Okay.
And he'll meet with Amanda. And hopefully she's gonna have it, but she's not bad.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. The last 3 or 4 over the last couple of weeks or months, people just go in there and start cleaning.
Yeah, and this is a problem with Omar here, I mean, so I know it's something we gotta.
Right, but what Bob's gonna do is at least we'll know what they're clearing in the area, and then we'll check on it. And I called Drew a couple of times, and he looks them up real quick because they go through accounting and stuff, so we have addressed that. We've never told to address it before, but we are doing it now, and I've talked to Chris about it, and hopefully we'll bring that up to date. We know who's clearing lots and when they're clearing. If they're not clearing, then I don't know, I guess we'll have to, you know, whatever.
Yeah, one of those lots where by the T on number 2 Turtle, they cleared 6 months ago and didn't even know about it, and then I asked Omar who was building it, he didn't even know they were, and so now they're building a house, I just wonder if they.
Well, that's, right now, that's why I've got board members preserving.
Mhm.
We'll be discussing that today with.
And it's no big deal, but we need to know who's doing it and when and what their plans are.
Well, right, and Chris and I have talked about that, and Bob will be turning a report, whatever he sees weekly, of what's being cleared, and then we can match it up and names.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Just so we're trying.
Yep, okay.
How many buildings have been issued so far in 21?
I couldn't tell you that, I'm not find out.
I just had a quick comment about the land clearing. Do we have any fines or anything in place that we're allowed to do for those clear a lot without? I know we just said billing the fee later, but I don't know.
Omar told me it was a $500 fine. Now, I don't know if he ever, because there are 3 I found just in that one time. He said he was gonna charge, I don't know if he charged them, but he told me there was $500 fine.
Yeah, I believe that there's a permit that you have to get through us.
Yes.
So that's if they didn't do that, there's probably some sort of penalty.
Yeah.
Does the county, I mean, what does the county do pay fine?
When the county usually gives like, I think the county owner will come after you have done something in the area is not allowed to clear. Because their land clearing fees with no charge unless they've changed. Which I think at one time we were $100. I don't know if we reduced it since then. But the big thing is for our initial inspection to happen. Right, so they don't damage roads or if they need locates. I don't know why the roof raking was deep enough to hit a line, but that shouldn't.
Right.
Somebody was being negligent with the wire, but I don't know.
But they are paying for it, that's right, where
They already paid for it.
okay. Okay, we did go after them right away.
Yes, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
but that's the big problem is people doing it without like. And that's,
I mean, I had someone over in the ABC call me and say, you know, who's doing it, we went over there,
Yeah.
we did fine.
good.
Well, we
I just wanted to know if we were trying.
Right, yeah.
We may need to coordinate with zoning and planning, so when people, sometimes contractors will just try the county to get a land clearing permit. And they'll automatically just say it's something like we don't care, well, that's not us, and they'll just come out and do it. So we might need to request that the zoning, at least let them know they need to come to something like that. Not that they don't exist, just a comment.
Thank you, Tracy. So we have them working on
Okay.
like that.
Okay, if there's any, go ahead.
I just want to ask one quick question. Are they required to put up silk screen when they clear the lots?
That I don't know.
Yeah, they should, especially on water body or.
Where are they? We pick up wads of trash with some of this job sites.
I think by the state requirements, they're supposed to. I don't think we have it written in our driveway permit, but that's not a speaking. We should be able to modify our permit language requirements for that. That shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because Jim's called me a couple times, that we have some guys trash everywhere, it's time and money of labor for everyone, so.
Did we modify our building permit to also require culverts?
Driveway permits, right?
The requirements for culverts are usually an as needed basis and or where they're getting installed, where the driveway's getting installed. Some locations of the district, I think even Man Hill, I don't think they're allowed. I think the HOA doesn't allow culverts, if I'm not mistaken. But the original intent for those was not to have any, but some of them are required, but we try to identify that when we're issuing the permit for each one.
Okay, like Pebble Beach. Are they gonna be required to put culverts in, or are they gonna go ahead and just dip?
Every new house on Pebble Beach, unless it's up on the drier side of the north, is gonna be required to have culverts.
Okay.
And that's only the ones down south.
So, correct, where the problem.
But up north, I know there was a couple, when we had the big water problems, that was underwater too, so we gotta make sure we watch not just the south end,
Correct.
there was a bathroom underwater up by George Quick's house at one time. We're right halfway, it doesn't make a difference, right? When we got a lot of the water the first time, there was one of the bathrooms were underwater, but just so we watch where it is.
Right.
Okay. I know for the audience, I don't know if anybody come late, but we do public comment early now, but if anybody would like to speak, I will allow that, public comment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am coming to ask a question.
Need to say your name.
My name is Christina Morrissey. I'm coming to you to ask some advice about a fence that is going up on property that's over on Granada and Mendoza. And it's right on the property line. It's this tall and there's chain link going across the front of the driveway. I've called and done a complaint with the county. So that's on record.
Right.
But is that something that's covered at all by this board, or is it a
My
petition?
code enforcement, my code enforcement back in that morning, I think you talked to him. He called the county, we talked to Drew, everything that they've done is legal. So there's nothing that, I know you look out and you see the fence.
Well, it's not according to the ordinance, though. If you look at the ordinance says you cannot have it on the front line if you're on a corner lot.
That's not the front, that's a side house.
Well, it's both.
Right.
It's all the way to the
Well-
stop sign. There's not even a cone of visibility around that stop sign.
Well, he called the county, Bob called the county, he said, because I went over there, and I think Joey and I also went over, took the Joey's my water and sewer, and I took Joey over there and we looked at it. And they did everything legal that they're supposed to. I don't understand why they would want to put it, and I kind of agree with you, but there's nothing that we can really do.
But the ordinance is very clear about that it's the front line of the house. It's supposed to be set back from
Set
it.
back and
It's right up to the road.
According to the county, according to our code enforcement data, everything legal. Because I was there actually, I think you probably saw me out in front of the house that day, so. As far as I know, and I'll take Drew with me, and I think Drew, you went with me. I'll go back over there and we'll recheck it again.
Well, the ordinances are very clear about the type of fence. They could do this with chain link, but they can't do it as a solid fence.
Right.
And the
But solid
sidelines
fence is
fence.
supposed to be on the side, that's what.
Is there anyone at the county she can talk to about that?
I'd ask, I'd talk to Mr. Kerr and see who he wants to send out there. Because there should be somebody, an inspector needs to go out there and say this, inspector.
Ma'am, I'll promise you to the board, we don't want to break any laws and we're just telling Mike to make sure that what they've done is legal.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I did go out there, but I also agree with it. I mean, the fence is
The ordinance is clear.
right there, so.
They would ask for somebody from the county. to
Yes,
come out and inspect
right,
it.
and I'll meet myself
That's
out
what we need to do.
Okay,
That would be great.
all right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
okay, I guess that's it. I think this meeting is adjourned.